Well, by using modern technology to revolutionize several facets of the economy, many countries are presently enjoying profound global interests and investments. In Africa, Rwanda and Ethiopia are prominent examples of countries that are substantially investing in digital artefacts to achieve a correspondent value in their natural and human endowments. Well, it is thus not surprising that Lagos State, the Babajide Sanwo-Olu-led administration, is keen on making Lagos the fortress of digital enterprise, an urban hub of innovation and commerce, and a fertile market for imperial investments. With a well-designed roadmap, the administration has been working hard to improve the efficiency of services and eliminate redundancies in major sectors as a sure way of making Lagos livable and more productive. Now, through the team's agenda, the administration's plan to fully transform the state into a smart city and making our economy 21st century compliant is fully on course, with the ongoing laying of 3,000-kilometer fiber metro network cables and broadband infrastructure across the state. It is part of the comprehensive smart city program of government aimed at driving Lagos into a 24-hour economy. Well, as part of efforts to further achieve the smart city agenda and improve technological development in the state has also initiated various projects such as the Intelligent Transport System, a Smart Identity Card, Art of Technology Project, Eco-Innovation Center. We can go on and on. Joining me live in our Lagos studio to look at this and make more sense of what this stands for all Lagosians. He's a special advisor to the Lagos State Governor on Innovation and Technology, Mr. Olatunbosun Alake. Good afternoon. It's good to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Great. Well, it's been a while, and a lot has been happening all the while.
Absolutely.
Let me just start that way. Take us through what's been playing out. I've seen a lot online, and even I can see with my eyes. So what's been playing out with all our moves to turn Lagos into a smart city?
Well, thanks for having me, and it's great to be here once again to convey some of our efforts in the technology sector in Lagos State. Last time I was here, I think we had talked about many facets of our technology agenda under the themes agenda. There was a technology and innovation master plan that was launched at the latter part of 2019, trying to drive technology in many facets: infrastructure, drive technology funding, improve technology capacity throughout various talent programs, and of course, improve our data capability in Lagos State. And so many of these efforts have already been playing out. Some of them are really at advanced stages of implementation. You had alluded earlier to our metro fiber connectivity. The first phase of 3,000 kilometers of optic fiber cable on the ground. And that project is significant to our smart city because in building any smart economy or smart city, you need to have the connectivity base layer. And that's one of the things we are doing now. I think we are around about 1,800 in our implementation. And we are not just deploying fiber, we are also deploying optic fiber ducts as well. What we are trying to do is we realize that to have double-digit growth in connectivity, the government can't do it on its own. So what it's trying to do is de-risk the deployment of optic fiber cable and connectivity tools in the market. So we are deploying optic fiber ducts. So for companies such as MTN, Airtel, and other internet service providers, if they want to deploy their tech, their fiber optic cables, they don't need to dig the ground anymore because we do realize that the cost of deployment is a significant barrier to entry, and it's a significant barrier to also the rise in connectivity. So by Lagos State de-risking this part of the deployment strategy, we reduce the barrier to entry. Telcos save more money in their deployment programs, and hopefully they pass those savings to customers. So we are expecting over the next couple of years double-digit growth in connectivity, which will form the base of the smart city. And on top of that, we have many applications and many technologies that we will implement, such as the Smart City Brain. You talked about the intelligent transport system that we are deploying at the moment. Currently, there are some junctures in Lagos. If you run a red light, you will get a ticket, right? Yes. And these are some of the efforts that we are putting in place. The Smart City implementation has already started, both in transport and in security. Currently, we have installed about 150 smart cameras across the city, which monitor different areas for security purposes, and is linked to our command and control center. This helps law enforcement, first emergency responders, to be able to get to places of interest quickly, and the smart interaction with people on the field. This technology helps them to perform their job better. So there are multiple things that we are, pursuing in the smart city agenda. There are also other things with the Ministry of Health where they are going to be deploying electronic medical records. But as you can see, the connectivity needs to be there, and that's why we are very bullish on that part of the project.
I also stumbled on the talking about innovators, because when we talk about tech, we need to give people opportunities, and that's where this comes up. And I see a 250 seed fund maybe allocated, and 100 of it has been distributed to about 23 innovators, tech firms, with creative, solutions, I guess. Take us through the process. How is this being done? How do you achieve this?
Right. So in 2019, when we came in, we reignited the Lagos State Science Research and Innovation Council. That body is responsible for driving investment in startups and also driving funding for science research, especially applied research in our universities, applied and basic research. Because what we've seen, really, let me kind of paint this picture and put it into context. What we've really seen is the beginnings of an innovation system in Lagos, where from basic and applied research, you develop original ideas, and then you take it through the transition to a full-fledged product or service. You build a company around it, a startup around it, and that becomes a source of value. People get hired through those companies. They provide a good or a service to the population, and economic value is created. So these are the beginnings of an innovation system that we've begun in Lagos to really drive economic value. So in fact, more than 100 million of that 250 was distributed last year to over 20 startups, about 22 startups. Okay. We also funded about 18 applied research initiatives across 4 major universities and colleges of education. That's LASU, UNILAG, Yaba College of Tech, and Lagos Poly. Because we realize that funding research, really drives innovation. We just don't want to be technology adopters. We want to be technology creators. And you can only really achieve this through the research stage, through the formulation of original ideas. In fact, LASRIC got its first patent about 2 months ago. We built a ambubag ventilator with the University of Lagos, and we were able to get a patent for that. Now, that device is going through clinical trials. When that goes through, then it becomes a product you can mass produce that was made originally in Lagos. So as you can see, there's quite a bit of investment from this administration into innovation, into science research. And of course, the startups we funded, a lot of our startups are doing quite well. Some of the startups we gave over $10,000 to last year, they are doing well. One of them just won an award, the Royal Academy of Engineering in the UK for a non-electric ventilator. We funded startups in agri-tech, in energy tech, and different sectors that drive civic solutions. So we have quite a robust investment drive, funding drive for technology and startups. And we are doubling down on that funding this year. We hope that this year we'll be able to start the LASRIC Venture Fund, which will drive higher levels of investment in our startups, and then we create economic value.
Creating economic value, and like you said, you guys are probably spending a lot doing this, because 3,000 phase 1, 3,000 phase 2. I looked at that, and this is part of the smart city arrangement, right? So how is it coming along in its entirety? If you have to look at it, are we getting there? Are we really getting what we need? Then it's a 2-in-1 question. I'm also worried about some Lagosians that really don't understand what is happening on their streets. I understand when I see it. How well are you engaging? You also need to engage people. Opportunities like this, but how well are you doing that?
Absolutely. If you drive across Lagos now, places like Third Mainland Bridge, the island, and some parts of the mainland, you will see billboards that advertise the Metro Fiber project and the ongoing smart city project. So there's been some advocacy, but we're going to double down on funding the advocacy. We are going to double down on really improving the advocacy reach of our programs. And we think we've progressed quite finely. Like I said, we begun this project in January of 2020, and we've already done about 1,800 kilometers, even in the midst of the pandemic, right? So even during the lockdown, quite a bit of work was even going on, and that has been quite good. So work is still continuing. We are hoping that by next year, the first phase of 3,000 will be completed, and then we start the second phase of 3,000, so 6,000 kilometers in total. Like I said, concurrently, we are doing the smart city implementation as well, the intelligent security surveillance system, the intelligent transport system as well. 150 cameras have gone up. We are pushing close to 200 very soon. And ultimately, we are looking at 2,000 intelligent video cameras, both for security, surveillance, and transport monitoring in the state. So that we are hoping that between next year and the beginning of 2023, all of that will be complete as well. So we've done a bit of progress. So what we do need to do is double down on our advocacy to let Lagosians know that this is coming, and of course to let investors know so that they can take the opportunity of the infrastructure that Lagos State is providing.
This would also create jobs, obviously, youths and all of that. That's where it comes to the issue of tech hubs all across the state. At the time, I thought there was a tour around some hubs, yourself and the governor. Can you please take us through what's been happening and what you've achieved along that line?
Right. So the tour of the tech hubs was really for the governor to have a first-hand interaction with startups on the ground, and really to tell them what some of the efforts the Lagos State government is making in trying to enable the entire ecosystem. Like I said earlier, we have an innovation and technology master plan that puts young people and startups at the center of our implementation. The LASRIC fund, as you well know, has gone to a number of startups. We are doubling down on our investment this year. In fact, about a week ago, we opened a new call out for startups working in the areas of the circular economy, cloud computing, and research initiatives across our universities. So there is an open call for startups who are working in these areas to get funded. There are grant applications that are available to the tune of 5 million naira. And of course, for startups that show the significant potential to scale, higher levels of investment will be considered. So some of the tour of the hubs was the governor letting the young people, the startups, know that this is available. This is some of the resources that we are putting into the startup community. Another point of communication was our Yaba Tech Cluster that we are building. And it's really just to agglomerate all the necessary ingredients for rapid innovation and rapid technology development in Lagos. We are sure familiar with Silicon Valley and a lot of other tech cities in Dubai, Singapore, and all across the world. The agglomeration of talent, of resources, facilities, helps drive innovation and helps de-risk the research process. And that's what we are looking to do with Yaba, where we have an agglomeration of talent. You have the universities like UNILAG and Yaba College of Technology. You have the startup community that is quite concentrated in Yaba. You have the fiber optic cables that are also going through that area. We are talking to a number of authorities to look at tax incentives for startups and research initiatives in universities and companies that want to invest in research. So we think the agglomeration of all these ingredients would lend to rapid innovation and technology drive. And that's what really motivates our Yaba investment. The governor just actually finished acquiring the land assets that would be required for this. And the meetings, we have a project steering committee composed of private sector individuals and public sector that will drive the implementation in this era. So Lagos State is doing quite a lot because we realize we shouldn't just be technology adopters. We need to drive local value creation, and that's why all of these investments are in play.
When we talk local value creation, something came in my mind as you were making your point, the point we've just now. Talking about the Silicon Valleys and everywhere. We also have this Ikeja place, this computer village spot, which is very strategic when it comes to ICT development. I had one of the representatives here sometime last week to talk, and they're so much ready to move to the new site and all of that. But in all of this, a lot of issues have also popped up, infrastructure, road, and all of that. Because if we are to achieve all of this, as interesting as it sounds, all of that has to work together, because it has to be easy for us to get to that point from point A to point B. So what more are you thinking about that market? It is so strategic. What are you thinking about it?
I think the movement of computer village, especially to Kotagowa, is the state's effort to actually even resource around that ecosystem. It's a very important ecosystem. And we are also looking at various partnerships with Computer Village. The same guest that was on your show has been in my office several times, and we've definitely talked about various areas of collaboration. The ecosystem there is quite strong, and we've also spoken to investors that want to come into the country, where even the Computer Village ecosystem is a principal enabler for some of their activities. So the state's investment towards Computer Village is really investing and putting the kinds of resources that will formalize that ecosystem and that area. And that's what's motivating the move to that area. So Lagos State is currently trying to invest in the infrastructure of the area, the access, the buildings. We actually even deliberated on this quite some time ago in our EXCO meeting. And so definitely it's in our plans, and we will definitely invest in Computer Village. We are looking at ways to formalize the interaction. How do we even make sure that some of these things are well within the ecosystem of technology in Lagos? And how do we drive even them creating value, not just for Nigeria, but for the wider West Africa region? And these are the conversations that we're having now. And very soon, there will be a blueprint for Computer Village to be part and parcel of the formal economy.
Very interesting one there. Oh, time is always flying. Actually, when we're on television, an interesting conversation with you. Before I let you go, I know a lot has already been said. I don't know, are there any challenges? Are there any more things you want Lagosians to know that government is really set to broaden this connectivity across the state?
Absolutely. I think it's very beneficial for Lagosians to know some of the efforts that the government is making, especially with regards to the deep investment. If you drive around, you see those multicolored docks everywhere. And so that's the state.
Right in front of my house.
Exactly. So that's the state really trying to invest, not just in infrastructure, but in its people. Because we do know that a percentage rise in connectivity leads to percentage rise in GDP, right? And so it's really the state investing in people and giving them the tools necessary to be able to drive technology development. Our people are the key to our development, right? So how do we improve the capacity? How do we give the knowledge? How do we fund? How do we give the resources to be able to grow the entire sector? And this is what is driving our investments. So I'll just tell Lagosians to look out for all of these things. For startups, there are open calls through LASRIC. And of course, lest I forget, there's also our Lagos Innovates program through the Lagos State Employment Trust Fund. Wow. They give vouchers for startups. A lot of startups don't have the resources to be able to grow their businesses at the very early stage. So what the Lagos Innovates program through LSCTF does is give them vouchers to use at certain innovation hubs and co-working spaces across the city. And to date, LSCTF has more than 130 startups that have benefited through that, and about 37 partner hubs across the state. This is also a lifeline of revenue for some of these innovation hubs. So as you can see, people are really centered around our development, and we hope to even increase our interventions in all of these areas.
Brilliantly said there, Deliverer. Thank you so much. I've been speaking to the special advisor to the Lagos State Governor, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, that's on innovation and technology. He is Mr. Olatunbosun Alake. Thank you very much for spending your afternoon with us. We really appreciate this.
Thank you very much.